Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault, and this is The National. 13 candidates and 9 months of campaigning come down to this.
This will be the biggest leadership race in Canadian history.
Who will Conservatives choose to take on Justin Trudeau? Donald Trump's G7 debut and how it's changing the dynamic.
The Canadian position may not be universally embraced.
The dilemma of bringing down record-breaking water levels in Lake Ontario. And the world-famous Dion quintuplets. We'll talk to the two surviving sisters trying to save their house. It's their last chance to win over voters. Tonight, the 13 candidates for the leadership of the federal Conservative Party are nearing the finish line in their long race to replace Stephen Harper. They're at the party's leadership convention in Toronto, making their final pitches to party members. But all that talk might be all for naught. The CBC's Katie Simpson joins me now from the convention floor to explain. Katie.
Adrienne, most of the ballots have already been cast, but still there's a mix of excitement and anxiety here at the convention. A final burst of enthusiasm after a grueling campaign. Leadership hopefuls have done as much as they can at this point and now must wait for votes to be counted.
I think there's some nervous energy here. There's a lot of anticipation about what's going to happen.
After crisscrossing the country for months, 13 candidates are still in the race, but 14 are on the ballot. Kevin O'Leary dropped out after ballots had been printed.
Hey, how are you?
Quebec MP Maxime Bernier, who once served in Stephen Harper's cabinet, is the top fundraiser and perceived frontrunner.
We'll be ready to beat Justin Trudeau in 2019.
But Bernier's path to victory may not be simple, given the party's ranked ballot system.
He might have the best first ballot result, but it all depends on what happens on the second ballot, the third ballot, all the way down to the 13th. If he doesn't get enough second choice support, someone like Andrew Scheer or Aaron O'Toole could come up the middle.
130,000 ballots have already been cast, each listing up to 10 choices for leader. A few thousand votes are also expected to be cast in person tomorrow at one of 13 polling stations across the country. Whatever the result, Conservatives here are united on at least one front. The new leader must be ready to take on Justin Trudeau in 2019.
Main priority is to pivot from the party to the general electorate.
Resonating with the general electorate could be a tall order. Right next door to the Conservative gathering, fans of anime are holding a convention of their own, and there isn't much name recognition with people there.
So do you know who's running in this race here?
No.
Maxime Bernier, did you hear Kevin O'Leary was in and then out?
I have Kevin O'Leary.
Ballots are expected to arrive by armored car around 3:30 in the morning, with organizers expecting to name a new leader sometime before 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Adrienne.
Katie, I know you've been listening carefully. Any standout speeches so far tonight?
Well, so far, Aaron O'Toole and Andrew Scheer really seem to have connected with the audience so far. Aaron O'Toole joking that he's younger than Justin Trudeau, but he might not look it because he's lived a life of hard work. So we're seeing some of the attack lines that could come out in a potential election in 2019. Lisa Raitt also really connected with the audience as well, offering what could be understood to be a concession speech, vowing to work with whoever wins this race, doing so behind the scenes as well as publicly. Now, Maxime Bernier, who of course is the front runner heading into this race, he did not offer very many words. He played a video for most of his time on the stage and then just offered a few very brief, very thin congratulatory remarks. Adrienne.
Okay, thanks, Katie. That's our Katie Simpson at the Conservative Leadership Convention tonight. And CBC News will have live coverage of the Conservative leadership vote results. Peter Mansbridge will be hosting our special broadcast. That starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern on CBC News Network and at 6 p.m. on CBC Television. It's also being streamed live online on our website and on our Politics Facebook page. As for the man Conservatives are itching to take on, well, Justin Trudeau is a world away from the politics of home this weekend. He's in Italy at the G7 summit, where leaders of 7 leading industrialized nations are hoping to make progress on several key global issues. But one man seems to be standing in the way. From Sicily, David Cochrane has that story.
Normally, by the time this photo is taken, the hard work is done. The leaders jet to the summit for face-to-face talks and to sign off on a joint declaration that has been hammered out in advance by teams of top bureaucrats. But not this time. Not surprisingly, the outlier here is the American president, to the point that the dynamic of the G7 is more of a G6 plus Donald Trump. Trump has a very different view on trade. He is also musing about pulling out of the Paris Accord to fight climate change.
There are clearly some areas where the Canadian position may not be universally embraced.
The bureaucrats who negotiate on behalf of the leaders are nicknamed Sherpas. Trump's Sherpa was reassigned to other duties in the run-up to this summit and never replaced. That threw talks on some issues into limbo, to the point that Canada has been worried that the final summit declaration might not include language on gender equality or make any reference to climate change. But late today, a Trump official told reporters the leaders had a robust discussion on climate change and that the president's views were evolving, but that any decision on the Paris Accord would be made in America's best interests. A Canadian source says that robust discussion included Trudeau and French President Emmanuel Macron arguing that fighting climate change was also about creating jobs, and either the G7 could lead this battle or China would. Yet below this spectacle in the sky, an air of uncertainty hangs over this summit. Trump is the biggest disruption, but a year of political churn has also made this a summit of new faces. At the last G7, Trudeau was the new leader, joining the ranks of a long-tenured group. Now he is the third most senior, and much of what is happening here is top leaders getting to know each other and learning how to work together. Justin Trudeau is set to have a quick face-to-face meeting with Donald Trump tomorrow on the final day of this summit. A senior Canadian official says the Prime Minister will raise concerns about the direction of NAFTA talks and point out that signals from top members of the Trump administration potentially threaten middle-class jobs on both sides of the border. David Cochrane, CBC News, Taormina, Italy.
Well, G7 leaders did agree on one important issue today, the need for new measures to fight terrorism.
The G7 will put its weight behind the creation of an international industry-led forum where new technologies and tools can be developed and shared to help us deny terrorists their pernicious voice online.
Britain's Prime Minister won an agreement from all G7 leaders to do more to remove extremist material from the internet and to improve information sharing about foreign fighters and their travels. Theresa May also raised concerns with Donald Trump today about those U.S. intelligence leaks on the investigation into Monday's attack in Manchester. Now, those leaks did considerable damage to one of the world's closest intelligence relationships. The British were furious when sensitive information on the case popped up on U.S. media. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson flew to London to apologize for that in person today.
We take full responsibility for that, and we obviously regret that happened.
And as for the ongoing investigation, Manchester police aren't giving away much, but with tensions still high heading into a long weekend, they urge patience despite some progress on the case.
They're very significant, these arrests. I'd encourage the public to carry on. What they will see are many more police officers, some armed, some unarmed, out there to protect the public, because we can't let the terrorists win by dissuading us from going about our normal business.
Meanwhile, singer Ariana Grande, whose concert was the target, issued a letter of condolence on social media. In it, she says, "My heart, prayers, and deepest condolences are with the victims of the Manchester attack and their loved ones." She also announced a benefit concert to be held at a later date. Today, deadly violence south of Egypt's capital. Masked and heavily armed militants went on a bloody rampage. Their targets, Coptic Christians. It's not the first time the religious minority has been singled out for death either. Bonnie Allen has more.
The shattered glass and blood-soaked seats hint at the carnage. Masked militants with assault rifles opened fire on 3 vehicles, including a bus full of children. The victims, Coptic Christians on a pilgrimage to a remote monastery. At least 28 dead, dozens more rushed to hospital. Coptic Christians make up around 10% of Egypt's predominantly Muslim population. Historically plagued by discrimination, even violence, they now feel hunted by Islamic extremists. Today's massacre south of Cairo is just the latest. Last month, suicide bombers hit 2 Coptic churches on Palm Sunday, killing 44 people. In February and March, ISIS and its affiliates started a campaign of targeted killings on the Sinai Peninsula. In December, an ISIS suicide bomber attacked the main Coptic cathedral in Egypt's capital, killing at least 25 people, wounding nearly 50. Attacks have escalated since the military ousted President Mohamed Morsi and his Muslim Brotherhood government. Since then, the new regime has cracked down on political opponents. Analysts suggest that has increased radicalization. It's pushed dissidents towards more extreme groups like ISIS. The shockwaves reverberate as far away as Canada. Father Thomas Iskoris has just arrived in Regina from Egypt to become the city's first Coptic Christian priest.
Sad day in Egypt.
How can you put a gun to a child's head and just shoot him?
Coptic Christians here in Canada pray for not only the dead, but those who fear for their lives. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Regina.
And we can tell you that Egyptian jets have launched airstrikes on militant targets in Libya tonight in response to today's attacks. Egypt's president says that his military will strike militant training camps no matter where they are. Coming up, why it's so easy for ISIS fighters to go unnoticed in Libya, and how climate change is hurting some Canadians' mental health. More and more, it seems that just being close to U.S. President Donald Trump is enough to raise the specter of some nebulous Russian connection. There have been questions of campaign officials, advisors, his picks for top positions, you name it. And now, even before he returns from his first trip abroad as president, more scrutiny and closer to home than ever. Ellen Morrow explains.
Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law and right-hand man.
He is so great.
Now reportedly under scrutiny in the FBI's Russia investigation for meetings he had with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and a banker with ties to Vladimir Putin. According to the Washington Post, Kushner asked Kislyak about creating a secret communication channel between the Trump transition team and the Kremlin during a December meeting at Trump Tower. U.S. media reports say Kushner did not disclose those meetings when applying for his security clearance.
All this raises questions as to whether these were initiated by Jared Kushner or whether this was an effort by Russia to get contacts to Mr. Trump.
Last name Kushner? Kushner is not necessarily a target of the investigation, nor is he currently being accused of any wrongdoing. But his inclusion in the Russia probe means it now reaches the highest levels of the White House, to a top advisor and family member.
Awfully hard for the president to say, I barely know the guy.
Kushner is now the latest in a long list of people with ties to the Trump administration to be scrutinized for their contacts with Russian officials. And tonight, there are reports the Senate Intelligence Committee investigating Russian election meddling has requested Trump campaign documents going back to June 2015.
Why did the Trump transition and later and before that the Trump campaign have so many contacts with the Russians? And more importantly, why did they then withhold them?
On Tuesday, former CIA Director John Brennan said he was concerned by Russian contact with the Trump campaign, even though it may have been benign.
I know what the Russians try to do. They try to suborn individuals, and they try to get individuals, including U.S. persons, to act on their behalf either wittingly or unwittingly.
Kushner's lawyer says he's willing to speak to the FBI and Congress about those meetings. For President Trump, this will mean a difficult homecoming with yet more questions about his campaign and its contacts with Russian officials. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Washington.
Hillary Clinton had a few things to say today about the current political climate in Washington. At a commencement speech at her alma mater, she took several swipes at the Trump administration.
You are graduating at a time when there is a full-fledged assault on truth and reason. Some are even denying things we see with our own eyes, like the size of crowds.
She urged members of the all-female graduating class to fight for equality, justice, and freedom.
You didn't create these circumstances, but you have the power to change them.
Clinton is no stranger to that stage, incidentally. She delivered a commencement address there as a Wellesley College undergrad in 1969. Now, the truth is at the heart of a new battle at Fox News. Some advertisers are pulling out of yet another hit show after its anchor, Sean Hannity, stirred up conspiracy theories about a murdered Democratic Party staffer. The family of that staffer says it's suffering from those hurtful and unfounded claims. Stephen D'Souza has more on that.
Tonight, the voice of you.
Sean Hannity is an unabashed cheerleader for Donald Trump. At a time when headlines are dominated by Trump and the Russian scandal, Hannity's primetime show on Fox News is a safe space for Trump supporters, where Hannity parrots Trump's attacks on the media and diverts attention to other issues.
What did you discover in terms of the contacts with WikiLeaks?
Chief among them, the murder of Seth Rich. The 27-year-old worked for the Democratic National Committee and was shot while walking home last year. Police say it appears to be a robbery gone wrong.
Julian Assange, I asked him repeatedly on radio.
But Hannity and conspiracy theorists have made outrageous claims. His murder, they say, was orchestrated by Hillary Clinton. They say Rich was targeted because he was the one who leaked Clinton campaign emails to WikiLeaks.
If it was true that Seth Rich gave WikiLeaks the DNC emails, wouldn't that blow the whole Russia collusion narrative that the media has been pushing out of the water?
But there's no evidence to back that up. Police found no contacts between Rich and WikiLeaks, and the FBI has said Russia was responsible for the hack. This week, Seth Rich's family pleaded for sanity, writing that despite these facts, our family's nightmare persists. Seth's death has been turned into a political football. Fox News felt the pressure and retracted a story that fed into the conspiracy. Hannity persisted at first, but then relented.
Out of respect for the family's wishes for now, I am not discussing this matter at this time.
The statement came as Angelo Carasone's organization posted a list of Hannity's advertisers. A similar campaign led to dozens of advertisers abandoning Bill O'Reilly, who was eventually let go. So far, 7 companies have pulled their ads from the show. Carasone predicts Hannity's demise will come, but not as quickly.
They're ultimately leaving because of what the Seth Rich controversy and story represents, which is Sean Hannity's volatility.
Fox News says Hannity will be back on his show next week. Hannity, who relishes a fight with his critics, mocked the media for what he calls its breathless coverage of his future. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
Montana Republican Greg Gianforte is heading to Washington after winning that state's congressional by-election last night, though he has some legal issues to attend to. Gianforte, a big believer in the Trump agenda, was charged with assault after allegedly body slamming a reporter a couple of nights ago, just hours before the voters went to the polls.
Get the hell out of here! You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Gianforte will replace another Trump supporter in Congress, Ryan Zinke, who is now Trump's Interior Secretary. A horrific story is emerging out of South Carolina with a Canadian connection. Police have charged a man with luring and abusing a young Alberta woman.
I was in the house and you could hear them. They was beating on the trailer so hard.
Police say the abuse carried on for days in this trailer park. They say she was enticed online with a high-paying modeling job. And then they say Fred Uri repeatedly sexually assaulted her. How she got out was incredible. She was allowed supervised FaceTime calls with her family, during which he didn't know she was secretly mouthing pleas for help and sending screenshots of her location. Police showed up to the screaming and then saw her burst out of the trailer window. She is safe now and has been in touch with her family. Record-breaking water levels in Lake Ontario are flooding shorelines and posing a problem for some communities. But while it is possible to manually bring down the levels, doing so would come at too steep a cost. Ron Charles has more on this.
This is what happens when the water in Lake Ontario is almost a meter above average. Sandbags and pumps now protect some of the 260 homes on the islands just off Toronto.
The issue is, I think people are worried long term, is the wetter it stays, if there's an issue with mold.
The parks and beaches occupying most of the rest of the islands are now partly underwater, as are many of Toronto's lakefront recreational areas. This didn't have to be. Water levels in Lake Ontario can be controlled with this dam into the St. Lawrence River at Cornwall, Ontario. But Environment Canada's Great Lakes expert explains why that would have had terrible consequences elsewhere.
If you lowered Lake Ontario by, say, 10 centimeters, you're actually going to raise the water level around Montreal by 1 meter. It's a 10-to-1 ratio. You think about how large Lake Ontario is. You take that 1 centimeter of water, well, now you're putting it into a much smaller area of the St. Lawrence River.
In the end, authorities sacrificed Toronto's baseball diamonds, beach volleyball courts, and some basements to save entire homes from certain devastation in communities like Montreal. There has already been historic flooding in the Montreal area. Besides, for the past decade, experts have been much more concerned about low water levels in Lake Ontario, a huge problem for shipping, recreational boating, and wildlife.
If you go back from 1998 to 2013, certainly we had very low water levels. But then in the mid-90s, we had very high water levels.
He says expect one day to have to again deal with lake water levels that are too low. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
Straight ahead, the Manchester attack shines a light on how freely terror groups operate in Libya.
Tonight on The National, East Germany throws open its borders to the West.
Future generations may very well point to this night and say, that was the night the Cold War really ended.
West Germans have climbed up in a section of the wall. They're standing about 10 deep, looking over on the other side at soldiers on the other side. They're cheering, they're taking photographs, they're popping champagne corks. It's a party scene that's going to go on the whole evening.
It seemed like all of East Berlin took the day off work to go and see how the other half lives. From morning till night, they streamed through the checkpoints into the western sector. Only 24 hours ago, heavily guarded, now wide open. All were given a rousing welcome.
For East Berliners by the thousands, this was their first heady taste of true freedom. The tears of joy mingled with looks of disbelief, as though the enormity of the moment was so overwhelming, they weren't really sure what to make of it all.
In sections big and small, the Berlin Wall is coming down. To those watching, it was a history-making act of demolition. Some German adults who remember Berlin before the wall found the experience emotionally wrenching. As a student, this East German was taught that the wall was meant to keep out evil capitalists. Today, he came to watch people punch holes in it.
I wanted to see all with my own eyes, and now I saw it, and it's fantastic.
Good evening from West Berlin. I'm Peter Mansbridge. That's the Brandenburg Gate.
Visitors from the east who poured in through the historic Potsdamer Platz received a welcome that brought many to tears. It seemed fitting that Western police and Eastern soldiers should link arms to hold back the cheering crowds. On the ground, a performing bear joined the party.
The wall openings are becoming a daily tradition here now, as East and West agree there have to be more routes to handle the tens of thousands of East Berliners who are crossing every hour. The vast majority just coming to take a look, do a little shopping, and then head back. And East German soldiers who used to look pretty stone-faced now look pretty tame with their flowers and smiles. The Germany of tomorrow is being shaped today in this Berlin autumn unlike any we've ever seen.
following the Manchester attack, that city has echoed with the sound of sirens, controlled explosions, the kicking down of doors, arrests, and interrogations. The bomber had sophisticated equipment, a network, and links to a country that counterterrorism experts have worried about for a long time: Libya. Tracing the threads back from these horrific moments to their point of origin won't be easy, but the starting points are there. There's a bomb and a young man who carried it somehow without being caught.
We keep talking about his radicalization, and one of the problems I have with that is there are plenty of people who are radicalized, and you could be radicalized on the internet, but really makes you a dangerous individual is if you learn the terrorist tradecraft, where you're able to construct an improvised explosive device.
This we know for sure. Salman Abedi spent at least 3 weeks in Libya, came back only days before carrying out the attack.
There is a brother, there's a family there, there are jihadist links associated with his father, and so the story is still unfolding.
And Libya is an ideal staging ground for terror groups. In part, that's an unintended consequence of the NATO air campaign that helped topple Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. Remember, Canada was an enthusiastic partner.
Together, we succeeded. Libya is finally free.
But on the ground, warring militias filled the vacuum. Libya became a source of weapons and a place for terror groups to train, plan, and launch attacks. The Algerian gas plant assault in 2013 that killed 40 people, the slaughter of 38 tourists at a Tunisian resort in 2015, and another attack on a Tunisian museum that same year. Tunisia is so worried about its lawless neighbor, it's built a dirt wall complete with a moat to try to keep the Libyan threats away. Threats the Obama administration feared would reach beyond Africa.
I am concerned about the growth of Libya as another area that could serve as a basis for ISIL to carry out attacks inside of Europe and in other locations.
Libya has no government. There are at least 3 rival governments, if not more, hundreds of tribal and political, ideological Islamist militias all over the country holding territory in this place and that place. In other words, it's a large, ungoverned space. When you are on the ground, you realize just how much space there is available to terrorists where they remain unmolested and they can go about their business.
You will not have safety, even in your dreams.
ISIS was quick to grab a piece of Libya. It once marketed its presence there predictably and publicly with mass executions.
Libya.
Recent U.S. airstrikes have managed to weaken ISIS a bit in Libya, driving it out of its major urban stronghold. But if the Manchester attack really has its roots in Libya, this is a serious reminder. Terrorism doesn't need territory.
That's probably not what ISIS was looking for in Libya. Libya was more about how to use the area to be able to have a facility that remain off the radar, more or less, and from where they can actually launch these kind of attacks.
The temptation may be to see that ISIS is getting pounded in Iraq and Syria, and so may be on the verge of defeat. But the warning is not so fast. This group is constantly reinventing itself.
They've taken cities, they've lost them. You think they're decimated because of a decapitation of leadership, but then, as time goes by, they tend to revive themselves. And that happens because the underlying social, political, economic realities do not change.
Bottom line, the threat to the West from Libya is all about the chaos within it. The disorder there is like oxygen to groups like ISIS. It gives them life while they plot death. Another country in the sights of ISIS is the Philippines as a place to regroup and to stage assaults. That's a story we will be following here in the coming days. But this weekend, CBC News takes you to the Philippines for our special report. A country not just under pressure from extremists, but a drug war and a tide of fake news. That's The Fight for the Philippines, Saturday and Sunday night on CBC News Network. Another global fight is climate change. Next up, the impact it's having on some Canadians' mental health.
fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, frustration, a lot of helplessness.
We're in a remote community in northern Labrador. Plus, what the surviving Dion Quints want from Canada. And why these green crab are making people crabby. That's all still ahead. Let's check the day's business numbers. The TSX had a small uptick. The Canadian dollar was more or less unchanged. In New York, the Dow slid slightly, the Nasdaq reached a record high, and the price of oil was up 90 cents a barrel.
The National with Milton Nash.
Good evening and welcome to rainy Vancouver and Expo 86.
The province they call supernatural is ready. They've been drilling, painting, cleaning, and checking all week.
I think everyone's relatively calm.
There's everything here, from the world's biggest flagpole to the world's biggest hockey stick and the world's biggest hockey puck.
You never know what you'll see next, and you never know who you're going to meet next. There's the mascot of the fair, Expo Ernie.
Well, bless my little robotic hearts. Noel Nash and the crew from the National. How do you do? Glad to have you here.
Expo is a fair about transportation, so this state-of-the-art monorail was a natural. For the first 2 months, it kept breaking down, but now it's carrying capacity crowds. The sun shone for the first time in weeks in Vancouver today, and with the sun, Expo 86 came alive. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people got to see the fair for the first time. Being Saturday, it was a big day for the children. And for children, what counts at a fair is the fun. There was no shortage of that.
Just great. It's bringing the whole country together, too.
$5,000 is spent every night by Expo for a computerized laser and fireworks show. It's called International Nights of Fire.
We've never seen fireworks like that before. Oh, that was awesome.
At 86th Street, they party with the Powder Blues Band, and they obey the rules to eat, drink, and go crazy. When they first opened, these nightclubs had so many customers, things sometimes got out of hand. So extra doormen were hired. Proper dress is now required. The people who don't like dress codes still have a place to go, though. At the Irish pub, there doesn't seem to be any code at all.
Expo has done itself proud. That's great. They did well. I enjoyed myself like no other time.
It's the best thing that ever happened to British Columbia and to me.
I love it. I've had a great time here.
When we said in the House of Commons that was the most ridiculous policy ever, then if you will just wait, the truth will be given to you.
To unfurl a flag that is truly distinctive and truly national in character, as Canadian as the maple leaf on your badge.
When the cavalcade rolled up to a stage where Trudeau was to make remarks in support of the local candidates, he was confronted by sign-carrying hecklers again. This time protesting high unemployment. Trudeau's response, as it has been throughout this campaign, was to fight back.
Yeah, we saw you last night with your painted and hired signs and your hired friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of you holding signs like little boys. Come on, go and look for some jobs.
No, you're lost without your notes.
This lady just wouldn't give up and kept up a barrage of one-liners throughout the speech.
Are you running as a rhinoceros or as a liberal? Eh?
No rah-rah speeches. The truth.
Mulroney was frequently interrupted by a large and unusually provocative group of hecklers, most of them striking workers at the Gainers meatpacking plant in Edmonton. Mulroney appealed for calm, didn't get it, and didn't like it.
You can yell and you can scream all you want. I've fought bigger and better people than you, and I'll do it again.
As the Prime Minister continued toward his car, he came face to face with one of the demonstrators. Suddenly, Chrétien took the man by the back of the neck. His other hand was over the protester's mouth. He pushed him aside. Seconds later, another protester approached the Prime Minister. Chrétien knocked over the bullhorn that was in his hand.
But he was right in front of me, shouting and trying to block my way, so I took him out.
The quiet beauty of northern Labrador is undeniable, but it's that same remote isolation that makes it more vulnerable to the consequences of climate change. We want to take you 160 kilometers northeast of Happy Valley Goose Bay to the Inuit community of Rigolette. There are no roads leading in and out, but ice roads allow for travel in winter. The problem is winters are arriving later and the ice roads are melting earlier. So people are left further isolated. And for some, that's taking its toll on their mental health. Sabrina Fabian tells us more.
Rigolette, northern Labrador. Peaceful, serene, remote. But the way of life here is changing, and fast.
We're the most southerly Inuit community in Canada, and we still live an Inuit lifestyle. But it's becoming more and more challenging with the way that the weather patterns are developing and forming.
Sad thinking about it. It's going to get worse. It's like every winter is getting different.
We don't have any language to talk about environmental loss and the lived experience of anxiety and loss and grief and sadness and fear and injury that's coming from changes need to be addressed.
Derek Pottle has seen the changes firsthand. Almost everything he consumes, he hunts from the land.
To be out on the land, it's our identity as Inuit people. It's our connection, is who we are, is where we come from. It brings us back to where our forefathers and the people before us came.
But this unique way of life is being threatened. For these hunters and trappers, this barren landscape of ice is not only their highway, but their lifeline to their hunting grounds.
There's a whole bunch of seals right here. Yeah. You can see those little black dots on the ice. That's all seals. But this area here is very bad ice. We would actually fall through the ice if we went over there. You can tell by the sound, the thump, the solid ice is still down there.
And the ice is just not what it used to be. It now forms a month later and melts a month earlier.
A month is a lot. Like, you're losing 2 months off of each season that you're prevented from either going trapping. The three of us here are commercial trappers, and we can't get to our trap lines. All three of our trap lines are over on the other side of the bay. So we can't get to our trap lines until the middle of January because the ice is not formed.
The uncertainty gnaws at them. The anxiety is as constant as the melting ice.
It's hard to describe, really.
Like many here, Carl Michelin finds it hard to talk about the changes.
Does it make you sad? Does it make you nervous?
It's different. Trying to adjust to it. Sad thinking about it. It's going to get worse. It's like every winter is getting different.
This one here is a traditional harpoon, a nauluk. We call this one a nauluk. This is homemade, and we just put it on in this manner here. Put it down over the shaft and put a hitch. When we were growing up and we were young boys, we would be up here on Lake Melville in June, seal hunting. I'm lucky if I get up here the end of April now, so it definitely impacts people. It shortens your season. Just waiting for the seal to come back, and you're just patiently waiting. And when it disables you from participating in a traditional way of life. And, everybody is different, but it impacts people in different ways.
Are you going to start there, Mark?
Ways that Ashley Consolo has been studying for almost 10 years. Coming here, she knew the average temperature in Canada's north is rising twice as fast as in the rest of the world, but she never expected to unearth such strong emotions when she asked one simple question.
How are the changes in weather or ice making you feel? And then people would talk about a whole host of strong emotional reactions. So, you know, fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, frustration, a lot of helplessness, and a lot of sense of hopelessness about how do they stop the changes. I don't think
the more she talked to people, the more she realized that climate change was affecting the very mental health of the community.
And so a lot of people would say, you know, the land is everything. It's family, it's kin, it's solace, it's a way I feel well, it's a way I feel healthy. So when we think about mental health separate from the land, you can't really have that in Inuit culture in the same way. It's foundational to everything.
Carl, how does it make you feel to see the changes so obviously?
From way back then, when it used to be a lot always like Derek said, then now when you're seeing dramatic changes in a short period of time, a matter of 25 years, like he said, is different and adjusting to it. It's hard to describe, really.
How does it make me feel? It pisses me off, basically. I mean, if I said to somebody that lived in southern Canada, you have to live a certain lifestyle, or you have to go here, or you have to adapt this way and that way, it certainly changes my life, our lives, all of us.
When you live in urban settings, subtle changes in the environment don't impact in the same way. I mean, you might look outside and go, oh, it's raining, and you grab your umbrella and away you go. But when you're in environments like this and up north, those subtle changes can mean the difference between going out and hunting or not, or feeding your family or not, or being able to travel to the places that you need to go to feel well, or following in the footsteps of thousands of years of Inuit culture. So that small change can mean the world, and that has a huge impact on our mental wellness and psychological responses.
Ina Shaiwak grew up in this community. Her family still lives and hunts here. She's watched her neighbors as they grapple with the effects of climate change. The boredom, the disconnection, the isolation that sometimes leads to substance abuse. Ina's decided she had to do something.
So one thing for me is being able to sew. So like I like to sit down and just being in my house, and I know my mom is in the kitchen sewing. So like we have that connection with each other. But being able to do it, and then my nephew, if he wants to come over and have a look, if he wants to try, he can try. Same with my niece. So it's just finding different ways at the moment to try to deal with it.
You go over them, and under them, this one, and then you go over that one.
So on this night at the community center in Rigolet, John Faulkner is teaching the intricate skill of making snowshoes.
Yeah, that's right. No problem.
Like there? Yeah, stop there when we get put the pin there, no?
I'm going this way, right?
Yep, go through.
Down the hall, Inez and her aunt are sharing another tradition, teaching how to sew these vibrant traditional coats they call dickies.
Finished, we're going to put your hood together. We got to put the two pieces together.
It helps people to relieve stress. Like there's no need to go and say, okay, maybe I should go have a drink. But really, you don't need to. You can just go out and have fun with other people, and you don't need to have alcohol or drugs to make it fun. But this is something that people are able to say, I want to get out. This is something I'm going to consciously do with people, other people in my community. Hit the Inuk app.
In fact, Rigolet is part of the development of a new app called Inuk, designed to help people who are out on the land share what they see. The hope is that by sharing and connecting with each other, they can lessen the stress.
So you take it, you drag it to a spot, and you enter your title of where you were to. A description of the environment, so anything that's happening. So if you see something where the water is not right, or if the ice is soft and you shouldn't travel on it, or if you see a good spot of berries and you want to show it with everybody else, that's where you would put it. And then how does it make you feel? Sad, happy, you're not quite sure, angry? You would add it. It should be fun. It should be something that people can have fun with anyway. So.
Ashley sees the resilience of the people of Rigolet as an example for communities everywhere that are facing the devastating effects of climate change.
We can't do anything about what's lost, and we can't do anything about what's disappearing now, but we can certainly fight to do things to stop it from continuing and to make sure that Inuit have what they need to be healthy.
The people in this community have endured a lot over the years, but this may be their biggest challenge yet. As climate change erodes their land, they're turning to their culture to find ways of dealing with the collective anxiety and uncertainty that is now part of their lives. Sabrina Fabian, CBC News, Rigolette, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Their lives were the opposite of isolated. How are the surviving Dion quintuplets doing as they approach their 83rd birthday? It's complicated. That's next.
Good evening from London. It was a glittering and magnificent ceremony here at historic St. Paul's Cathedral, the marriage of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer.
It was as if all of London was in love. 600,000 people filling the streets, come to share a special day. As they cheered every carriage, and as they listened quietly to the ceremony on the speakers,
I pronounce that they be man and wife together.
they were, quite simply, rejoicing.
Because I love these things. I love royal weddings and royal anything.
Yes, it's Britain, isn't it? It's Britain.
We're here because we're English, we're British. This is a great day for us.
The crowd in front of me today has been absolutely marvellous. They've enjoyed themselves watching the procession, and they seem to have enjoyed it thoroughly.
It was a time to forget all the troubles, and anyone who tried to bring them up didn't have a chance.
For the country.
It's good for the country, yeah,
it's good
but
for ordinary people like me who go to work every day.
Yeah,
And
but what about
thousands
people
and
that
millions
haven't
of
got
other
jobs?
people like us, all right?
What about
It's
people
good
that haven't
for
got
us.
jobs?
I enjoy it.
What about
That's all
fellas
there is
like
to
me
it.
as well? What about fellas like me?
It's just for the ordinary working people who go to work every day who've got a job. All right, we're lucky we've got a job.
Yeah, but
This
what about
is
the people that
marvellous.
haven't
This
got
is
a job?
England.
Not only the British thought it was marvelous, the Trudeau children watched from Canada House with their mother.
Well, I thought it was like a fairy tale. And like the trumpets and the band and the Prince Charles was the prince and Lady Diana was the princess and was very happy.
What did you think of Lady Diana?
I think she was very beautiful, and I'm glad that Prince Charles has picked her. He has made a very good choice.
Misha, what did you think of the whole thing?
I think the band was nice. I'm a musician myself, so I would think it's nice all the time. Lady Diana was nice, Charles was nice, the church was nice, the Queen was nice.
Not just the children, but all the world seemed captivated by the beautiful princess in her magnificent dress.
She looked beautiful. She had lovely frills around here, and she looked like a lemon colour, didn't it?
Lemony cream. It wasn't wine.
Lovely.
Even as they saw it, this London fashion house was copying it, frantically working from a sketch made the moment the bride appeared on television.
Ours is white, hers was ivory, more to cream. Secondly, really the important thing is we are not using pure silk, we're using artificial silk, and therefore it's a lot cheaper than Lady Diana's or Princess of Wales dress would be if one could buy it, which of course you can't.
Within hours, 3 copies of the dress will be in London stores. Within days, thousands. The wedding has obviously been a tremendous boost for the British fashion industry and for the British economy, and also, perhaps above all, even if only fleetingly, for a faltering British spirit. Eve Savory, CBC News, London.
In the age of reality TV, multiple births are a common spectacle, but back then, the Dion quintuplets were a unique sensation. Their birth created a multi-million-dollar tourist attraction for Canada and led to troubled lives. Now the remaining 2 sisters are fighting to preserve that history, and as Alison Northcott reports, they don't want their struggles to be forgotten.
In a log house in northern Ontario, 5 tiny babies beat the odds.
Eva, Annette, Cecile, Marie over there, and Emile over there.
From their very beginnings,
In their first bed were the butcher's meat baskets.
the Dion quintuplets were closely watched by many. Early on, their father agreed to display the girls at the Chicago World's Fair, then quickly changed his mind. Still, the Ontario government intervened. It removed the babies from their family, made them wards of the Crown, and moved them to a special nursery and observatory called Quintland.
It's the home of those 5 amazing children, the wonderful little girls who have taken the heart of the world by storm, the Dion quintuplets.
For years, they were on display, their everyday lives under the watchful eyes of thousands of curious strangers. A multi-million-dollar tourist industry was built around them.
Annette Dion, a woman getting older.
Today, Annette and Cecile Dion are the last surviving sisters. In recent years, they've mostly shied away from the spotlight.
C'est fatigant, puis on peut pas être naturel, toujours être surveillé.
But the sisters have recently given several media interviews in the hopes of saving the house they were born in. They last visited that house in North Bay nearly 20 years ago.
It will always hold a very special place in our art. This is where it all started.
For years, it was a museum, but attendance dwindled and it closed in 2015. North Bay City Council recently voted to relocate the house within the city. It's been moved before from its original location in a neighboring town. Now the sisters want the federal government to pay to operate and preserve it for years to come. The Federal Heritage Ministry says it has yet to receive a formal request for funding. For the Dion sisters, the house is a symbol of their story, both their incredible birth and the struggle that followed.
It was not human things that happened to us. And we don't want it to happen again with more other children.
They hope it can serve as a reminder of the toll of exploitation on children. They still carry the pain of what they see as a stolen childhood.
C'est de l'exploitation, ça. On n'est pas des animaux.
The quintuplets were returned to their family in a new house when they were 9, but after years apart, the family bond was broken.
It was very hard. We were not a family.
It was more happy to live in the nursery than at home.
In 1998, the 3 surviving sisters at the time got a $4 million settlement from the Ontario government. It came as the sisters were struggling to make ends meet in their adult lives. This weekend, Cecile and Annette turn 83. They used to get countless birthday cards, but over the years, the well wishes have petered out.
Il y en a moins. Il y en a beaucoup moins. Mettons 6 là, maintenant. Là. Mais ça fait rien. They're nice to write.
They know the wow factor of their story has faded and say these days even their own children just aren't as interested. Annette says she gave a book about her life to one of her sons, but he never finished reading it.
Well, a new generation, you know, the big difference. No? I don't want to be sad about that. I think that's the way it goes.
It means they can live a much quieter, more private life today than they did as children. They've learned to rely mostly on themselves, but on each other too.
Moi, je ne vais pas trop compter sur elle, parce que je me dis, quand une ou l'autre va partir, ça va être plus difficile.
It's the same thing for me.
Because they know there are few others who could ever truly understand their childhood experience that forever shaped their lives. Alison Northcott, CBC News, St. Bruno, Quebec.
When we come back, how a new breed of crab is threatening Canada's lobster industry. There is an issue in this country with some small, aggressive, and incredibly hungry creatures. Now, green crabs live in many parts of the world, but a hybrid variety is thriving in the frigid waters off Newfoundland. As the CBC's Chris O'Neill-Yates reports, the invasive species is causing major problems for fishermen.
Clarence Marsh has watched green crab flourish here in Placentia Bay in the past 10 years.
Oh, my son, they're numerous. They're numerous.
Marsh fishes several species. He blames green crab for his low lobster catches.
I really do think the green crabs eat the lobster spawn.
Halfway back to town.
Cynthia McKenzie is part of a team of scientists that recently discovered that the ravenous green crab in Newfoundland are a hybrid, the result of interbreeding between green crab from the U.S. and from Europe.
Now we have a group that are very aggressive and can tolerate the cold.
They tolerate cold so well that they can be frozen for 24 hours and still come back to life. They can survive on land for weeks and live in salt or fresh water. And they'll eat anything, even other green crab. Like fishermen, Mackenzie also believes green crab are likely eating spawn, young lobster, and even pilfering bait from traps. Small numbers of green crab have also been found in neighboring Fortune Bay, where lobster stocks are healthy and the fishery is very profitable. If such voracious eaters get a foothold there, it could be devastating for that fishery too. Government has been issuing licenses to fishermen in recent years to catch green crab. Marsh would like to see more licenses to get the population under control. Unfortunately, there isn't a market for green crab. They don't have much meat. So they end up being used as compost or are simply dumped.
We're never going to eradicate them.
The challenge right now for fishermen and scientists is to figure out just how far along the coastline this species has spread and to try to stop it. But for the time being, it appears to be a battle that the green crab are winning. Chris O'Neill-Yates, CBC News, North Harbour, Newfoundland.
Okay, that is the National for this Friday night. For news at any hour, you can always go to cbcnews.ca. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Thanks for watching.